Hey guys, it's Abby with MotorCityNerds. Welcome to all new subscribers. Hi, it's that time of the week where we pretend we're real detectives and talk about True Detective. And I'm excited, but some of you guys threw me off with some stuff. And like the video, it really helps me out a lot. We're on our way to 2K. I can't believe how many people have subscribed. I really appreciate it. Mom's really deterring me from my orange and blue theory. She's like, I don't think they'd change it up like this. Evil doesn't sleep. And I was like, you've told me my whole life, like a metaphor for anything. The devil doesn't come up to you with red horns and a tail. He comes up to you looking like your friend. And I really think they're trying to throw us off the scent here. I told you Hank's girlfriend wasn't real. Told you she wasn't going to show. Now who's fleecing him? It could just be he got played. But there's a big theme in this episode about being alone. And are we really alone? Whether that's, is there an afterlife, or literally, or whatever. And I think Hank, like I've been saying since the beginning, I don't think he's bad. But I don't think he's great. I think he's on the take. And I think that he turns the other way and knows something bad goes on here, which is still bad. But it's kind of like in season 1 when they're like, it was just the chain of command. It's, you still participated in gross bad stuff and ignored things. And like we've been saying, and I always say, the show isn't about being a cop. Being a true detective isn't about being a cop. It's about, are you going to do the right thing no matter what? If you are from my Dark Tower stuff, connecting all of this, will you stand and be true no matter what, essentially? Will you just stand for the right thing no matter the cause and no matter the cost? That's what being a true detective means in this. But we'll get into it. You guys have great comments, first and foremost. Now, one of the things I've been tossing around in my head, if you're on my TikTok or my social media, those are kind of like a running, or like a rough draft, you could say. Before I do a review or something, I'm very auditory, so I have to say things, and then I feel like they bounce back and they're fully there in the filing cabinet. So it just helps me. But if you're on my social media, I was talking about how just as much as Darwin has to do with evolution and life and things like that, Eve, Navarro's name, is creation, and in the biblical sense, or the spiritual sense, if you will. I'm not saying it's a total Christianity message here. I'm saying that there's ties to a spiritual thing. But what also do we have? Oh, we have her seeing fruit. And Eve, fruit, knowledge. Those are kind of big themes in the Bible. Now, I was raised hardcore Irish Catholic. Like I've been saying, there ain't no crazy Bible messages that are going to go past me. So I think that's really just a cool little tidbit. But what's even better, and I'm so proud of her, this made me so happy. Normally, she's not super into things like that, and this has been a lot of fun. She dropped The Godfather on me, guys, and I was like, oh my god, you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. She said, oranges have always symbolized death, Abby. What does Don Corleone buy right before the hit on him happens? It doesn't kill him, but they try to. He's buying oranges. And I was very impressed by that, and it made me very happy to have my friend text me a Godfather reference, and I was like, holy shit. I'm gonna give credit where credit is due, and I really like that. This white noise thing is new, right? We keep hearing Danvers listening to white noise. And my theory still stands. It's just getting warped a little bit. Which that's to be expected. I'm just saying, still, the bulk of it still stands. How creepy is this video of Annie K? And one thing I want to talk about, which I don't think we have, is her tattoo is in the same exact place Dora Lang's is, right? In season 1? And one of you really freaked me out, because I was like, somebody said the Carcosa symbols were in the opposite way. And I was like, I was saying that in my first review, that I'm like, if someone views this as an evil thing, somebody somewhere else might view it as a good thing. It might have started as a good thing and been desecrated and now used in this negative, nefarious way. Somebody said they were inverted, I was like, stop it. Did I really miss that? And they're not. They're not inverted, they're the same. But I really didn't put together that Dora Lang and Annie K have this tattooed almost in identical spots. When Danvers goes in to like check on Leah while she's sleeping and just look at her, it's sad because, like I said, they're trying to push her away from Danvers. They want her away from her stepmom, from her mom. They want her away from her. And what do cults do, everybody? Just like with Ray Clark that they're looking for, who they made a comment about him. His mom disowned him. Let me tell you, if Ireland, Irish, or anything like hardcore Irish Catholic family here, you start turning the other way from how they feel about certain things, first you're going to get hit with the Catholic guilt thing. Then they're going to be pissed, and they're going to be upset with you and not want to talk to you and hold a grudge. Did this cult isolate you? And your parents got pissed and were like, fine, then we won't talk to you, and it's kind of looked at like they dropped you, but the truth is you moved away from them? Because I definitely think that people in that group, from the activists, mean well, and I really do, but I think there's certain people in there that are preying on certain Native people. And that's real cult-like behavior. To come up and go, everybody's welcome here. It doesn't matter. And immediately go, oh, they don't ask your name. That doesn't sound very personable to me. Doesn't really seem like you care about me when you come up and you go, oh, you're the police chief's daughter. Look what we got here. Sneaky. I think the actresses of both Leah and Annie K look similar on purpose. I think that they want Jodie Foster and us going, she can really see this happening to her, and it scares her. And if you've been here, you know that I talk about this a lot. It's not their culture she dislikes. And I'm starting to think Jodie Foster's been sleeping around so that everybody's like, I hate her. And nobody looks twice at her. But really, she's like, no, I know it'll get you all to back off. I'll bang all your husbands. And if you all hate my guts, you guys are going to think that nobody's giving me any information. You would think I wasn't a threat if everybody hates me and nobody wants to talk to me. But the truth is, I'm looking out. When we see the sister first having like a meltdown, and she's naked in the street, and we start seeing like people in the town are seeing it. And you gotta remember this is a small town, so word probably travels really quick. And Jodie Foster's like, no, come on, and is like helping her. And that's a really sweet, touching scene between Danvers, Navarro, her sister, but it just shows how much she cares. She's not like mad at it or making light of it or anything like that. She takes it real serious, and she's like, no, I got you out here. Like if that was happening to my best friend's little sister, or man, I'd be, very protective of that. But I think the sister knows. Like, Jodie Foster, you're good people. Throughout it, we get, don't take us off the case. We have Pete in the skate rink, which I've been saying, skating lessons and all that shit don't mean skating lessons. It means, will you be on the take? And I was wrong. I thought it was Pete getting beat up, and it was Navarro. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I was at Ford, there were 3 things me and my best friend would talk about for 12 hours a night. Movies, Harry Potter, and boxing. I love boxing. This woman, in real life, I just want to say it, would fold these men in half. She would fold these men in half. But I get it for the story. I just want that stated. But they all feel a certain way about getting taken off the case. Navarro's real vocal about it. Pete, you can tell, is like, man, I don't want them taking these bodies. And remember what we found out about those bodies last week? They didn't die freezing. Remember how this sister passed. We'll get back to it. Oh, yeah, and now Connolly, the cop, is staying. The one that's calling the shots to Jodie Foster. And we find out he's like, oh, yeah, no, you were a better cop than me. You were better than me. And she was like, yeah, I would have up-jumped you in rank. I would have beat you out. That's why you wanted me gone. Let's be real here. Again, I think he just wants to move up, and he'll do whatever. He'll look the other way. It doesn't mean you're good. But I don't think him or Hank are actively participating in what, for lack of a better term, I'm calling a cult. All right, let's get our Season 1 brains on. So, they're really, really trying to not flip-flop the orange and blue, like we've been talking about. But we're having an absence of it. Especially the orange. And I think they want us going off the trail, because you're showing a literal fruit orange. Come on. But lighthouses and Light the Way and Beacons of Way or some crap, wasn't that the name of the schools in Season 1 with Tuttle? So I don't know if I can fully trust this Lighthouse Psychiatric Hospital. It didn't give me nefarious vibes, but we never know with this show. And a lighthouse is a good symbol. A lighthouse means safety. A lighthouse means your home. A lighthouse means there's people. A lighthouse means land. And where does she die? In the sea. But I don't know. I don't know how I fully feel about that yet. And now, I don't know how different states are, but I've had friends check themselves into psych wards, and I guess it depends on what you say, but even when they voluntarily checked in, they had to stay 3 days. It was like mandatory. Grippy sock vacation, First, I was like, what year did Dora Lang happen in Season 1? And I was like, I think it's 95, or it's 96. It's not 98, because they talk about this Otis guy in 98 after some weird thing happened. But then they brought up 2006. And I was like, I know they don't get back together in 2006, Marty and Hart in Season 1. But I think there's something about 2006. So very rarely do I look things up. I normally just go straight to you guys, and then later on I'll look things up if I'm feeling froggy. Just so you guys know that, I avoid reviews. I avoid previews. I don't listen to that after the show podcast, because I don't want anybody, it's not that I don't like other people's stuff, it's that I don't want it to taint how I feel. I do feel like HBO is capitalizing on that. I feel like they're going, screw content creators. We don't want to make the internet happy. We don't want to risk that, so we'll just pay people to talk about it and tell them what to talk about. Not that there's anything against it. Not that there's anything wrong with listening to the podcast or anything like that, or the after the show stuff. I just choose not to. But 2006, guys, is when Marty quit the police force. That was when he was sick of it and over it. I don't know if that has anything to do with things, but the show, it's very meticulous. And Dora Lang happened in 95. And they closed it, I think, in like 96 or 97, they say. And 98 was when this weird stuff started happening with this Otis guy. He had similar injuries, that his eardrums were blown out, that his corneas were burned, that he had self-inflicted bite wounds, and so did these other victims. Kind of sounds like scratching your own eyes out. It sounds like these people are dying from fear. Then they say he's a junkie. They don't state what he's on, but I'm assuming it's meth, because that's been brought up more than once, and the evidence room had it. And I've been saying, I'm assuming there'll be a tie to LSD and meth. Now, if you know anything about LSD, you can't find that in a blood test. You can only find that in a spinal tap. So you'll only know that if you tell somebody directly, like test in their spinal fluid. Meth, that'll pop up in your system in normal ways. I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop, just like in season 1, but I'm assuming this guy's on meth, and that's how they're writing off, oh, they're weird writing, and they're weird stuff, and they're just meth heads. But Pete is very big on, no, he became a junkie after whatever happened. I don't know about you guys, but a real quick way that a lot of people will say not to believe somebody is saying they were intoxicated, especially an addict. Who are you going to believe? Smarty teacher who's wearing orange and indoctrinating your kids, I think? Who keeps telling you how dangerous these ice caves are. You can't go out there. And I just so happen to remember about it. Here you go. Let me get these maps for you. Are we going to believe him? Upstanding citizen of the community? Or are we going to believe a meth head with all these priors and a record? Some of the smartest people I know are addicts. A lot of them are super smart. I just lost one of my oldest friends to a heroin overdose. It's not fun. One of the smartest people I ever knew. One of my oldest friends. And I'm not talking about like crackhead crafty. I'm talking about smart. Oh, and it's Christmas Eve. Now, at first, I went down this rabbit hole for a minute. I was like, wait, what day of the year did this start on? Was it the solstice? Because that's a big thing in some stuff, like Red Dragon, which is the first book in Signs of the Lambs. Like, he goes with the cycles of the moon. So I'm like, oh, snap. Is it like the Tooth Fairy? Do we have a solstice thing happening here? Now, it might not be the solstice, but still, Christmas and Christmas Eve are huge days, whether you're Christian or not. They're big days in pagan religions. It's a big day. But we say over and over again that they have no resources, that all the guys are out on the ice, and yada, 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 and Pete's got to stay back and do this APB. And obviously, Pete don't want to go home. And I've never trusted this wife. Kayla, yeah, I'm looking at you, sneaky rat. Pryor. And I guess I didn't realize how their last name is Pryor, Pete's. And I'm like, was that really that smart of an idea? Or did you do that on purpose in a cop show to make someone's last name Pryor? Because then I want to say priors, like prior convictions. But that's their last name. Or just use the word. Oh, Pete's putting out the APB. Where's his dad? Where's Hank? Oh, he's at the plane. And we're like, oh no. Oh no, no girlfriend's getting off that plane. And then we get psyched out, and it's the stewardess. And I was like, oh my God. And I really did. I felt for Hank in that moment. I really did. What makes me think this is just a rando fleecing him and not like somebody in town? And then I thought, what if it's Jodie Foster? And all these alerts she's getting on her phone aren't Tinder or fantasy football at all. She's fleecing Hank. But then I'm like, no, I really don't think that. There's a big theme in this of alone. Hank's realizing he's alone. And then when he's with Pete, he's like, what if I come over for Christmas Eve? He's trying. I think Hank's going to be like I've been saying, he's not bad, but he's not good. Orange and blue theory, I feel like the darker the blue, the closer you are to we're turning the other way. The lighter the blue, the more connected with the spirit world or good you naturally are. So I never thought Hank was evil, but I don't think he's great. But I think he's starting to realize my family is what matters. What does Pete say? I gotta talk to Kayla first. Why do you gotta talk to Kayla about your dad coming over? Even if he is a piece of shit. Why do you gotta talk about your dad coming over for the holidays? Unless you did something to her outright. I mean, just suck it up. We all suck it up at the holidays. So why don't you? And you can tell Hank's not really about it. We get Navarro and Danvers in the car together talking about their moms passing, and being a mom and being a mother and being a woman is a huge theme in this. That motherly instinct to protect, whether or not you have kids or not. And I always remember this. I don't have kids. I have nephews, I have nieces, and I would do anything for them. But when I was in ICU, or like right when I got out of it, my friend came to visit me, and we heard a baby crying. And it bothered me to my core. Doesn't it always bother you when you hear a baby crying in a hospital? You know what I mean? Like, they can't tell you what's wrong, and they're just crying, and it's not even your baby. Turned to me, and she said, yeah, that's because evolution has told us that is the worst. You need to be on top of that. Everything in us, it doesn't matter if you have kids or not. Every instinct is telling you as a woman, like, go to that baby. Help that baby. So it does not matter that Pete is not her kid, that Navarro is not her kid, that Leah is not her kid. She lost her kid and now feels responsible for them. She is their pseudo-mom. Does not matter if that baby crying is not yours. You still want to protect them. I'm not saying men can't do that. I have the utmost respect for dads and single dads. I really do. Uncle who raised me after my dad passed and stepped in like my dad had a daughter he raised alone, had to fight in court. I have the utmost respect for that. But there's a natural thing women are given where we go, I want to protect the whole group. Naturally. We naturally go protect the unit, not just me. And that is years of evolution and just instinct. I say it all the time. You want to come at me, do that all you want. But once you start coming at people I care about, now we have a problem. But they talk about their moms passing away. I haven't had my mom pass away, thank goodness. She's my best friend, but I've had my dad pass, and let me tell you, having a parent pass sucks ass. Especially when you're young. And I feel like when you're young, kids are resilient, man. I remember sitting on her lap, and she just told me outright, your dad passed away. And then my older sister, who's 3 years older than me, she got up, and she walked up the stairs, and I just knew I'd go with her. That's where I'm supposed to be right now. We're supposed to be together. And my dad told us this, like, he got us all in, like, I'm talking, he was dying in our house. I was 6. He knew, they say you're formed by the time you're 5. They say by the time you're 5 years old, like, your personality and everything is formed. And my dad got us all tea sets. I collect teacups. My grandma picked something for each of us to collect. I got teacups, so I always really thought that was cool. But my sister he said, I got this for your other sister because she don't want nobody there. She was 8, and it's true. He was like, she don't want nobody there. It's a personal little teapot frog that turns into 1 cup. And then he said, Abby wants everybody there. So she has this set, and it's a hickory dickory dock set, and the clock is the teapot, and the mice are all the 1 through 12 numbers, and different little mice are on them. And the accuracy of that is crazy. But you do go off what everybody around you is kind of telling you. I remember I just was like, I really want someone to buy me Predator on DVD. And everyone just went, Dead Dad Life? We'll get this kid whatever they want. You want a Big Mac and you're 6? Go ahead, we'll get it. I was sad, but I knew for a minute, like, I'm going to do what I want. What do you mean, I don't have to go to school? That's awesome. You can't bullshit kids. We're sad, but kids are resilient. Don't bullshit your kids. They're smart. But when she was talking about, I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed because they told me to. And now we know why Danvers is so tuned out to that spirit world. It started with her mom passing. We know Navarro's mom passed. And we know Navarro's mom has been trying to tell her something. And if you ain't going to listen to your mom, are you going to listen to your sister? I think when we get this body back, she's going to have that crucifix on that she threw away. And that's going to wake up Navarro. I also think after Jodie Foster chucked that polar bear, that's going to appear back. But when she talked about how hard she prayed, and then Navarro just makes a joke on it, I was like, no, there's no other way to talk about it. I joke with people all the time. I'm like, Dead Dad Club? Dead Parent Club? Oh, you're in it? Oh, got it. Like, you have to make light of it, otherwise it will consume you. When they knocked on the teacher's door and we don't know it yet, and she goes, you talk, and tries hiding her face like little kids, that was genuinely funny. That these ice caves were mapped, by the same guy that Pete found out about. I said, are they as dangerous as this teacher's saying? Or are we made to believe that so we don't go out there? I don't know, ice caves are creepy, that is a true thing, like you can just fall through, it's wild, but I'm like, something tells me not to trust you. Putting the sister into the psych ward, and I don't know, I really don't know if I should trust that lighthouse. There's no orange around it, but a literal orange rolls between her feet. I was wrong about that too, I thought that was gonna be Jodie Foster. They are showing some creepy shit though. Let me tell you, the Pet Cemetery shit going on, I was not expecting. That was the mom underneath the bed, right? Creepy as hell. And that was heartbreaking, her sister putting her in there, because she knew she didn't want that. Now, maybe they are connected to Tuttle and his schools. Maybe they are. I don't know. Mom thinks it's good. I at first thought it was good. The symbol of a lighthouse is good, but I don't know here. I'm going to lean towards they are, but that Tuttle connection is out there. That's there. But I think they were called, like, We Light the Way, but that's the same thing. Rose is an icon. Rose is awesome. Rose is the best. She's got her Christmas spread. She's all dressed up. I love it. But is this another connection to, who are you expecting? Are you expecting Travis? This day can be different for a lot of different cultures. Are we closer to the dead maybe around this time? Around the solstice? Be something like, we call it All Souls Day or All Saints Day, but Mexico has El Dia de los Muertos, and it's the Day of the Dead, and you leave offerings of food, tobacco, liquor, whatever, things they liked in life. And I always loved that. That was kind of the vibe. I'm sorry if I butchered those words. Roach will tear me apart. Medical Mondays, Roach. His first language is Spanish. He'll tear me apart if he hears me speaking it awfully. So we're not going to do that again. But that was the vibe. That was the vibe I was getting. We found out she was a professor. But we don't find out where. I'm very interested in that. Are you from Salal? Or were you sent up there for Salal? Why? What's going on here, Rose? Start saying, yeah, I used to do all this important stuff, and I realized it's all BS. It's all bull. All of this is just shouting into the void. And then she says, it's quiet out here. Except for the dead. Jeez. But you have to remember the setting we're in. Dark, desolate, dead, rebirth, restart. Those are all things here, and it's a lot of things that winter symbolizes. Everything dying. But we're going to get into spring eventually. And like I said, with quoting the end of Season 1, dark's got a lot of territory. But once it was all dark. If you ask me, it looks like light's winning. The light will come through eventually. There will always be a good force to oppose the bad one. Eventually, that will rise up and happen. Cause a wheel. I don't know if Leah spray painted the mine alone or all together. Because like I said, I can agree with the message here. She's probably right. The activists are probably right. I just think not all of you are so noble. Did you work alone and they ditched you? Did somebody alone put you up to that? I'm not saying she's wrong for what she did. I'm not saying her message isn't wrong. I love that back and forth between Jodie Foster and that lady. And she was like, I'm going to press charges. She's like, no, you ain't doing shit. And I know we shouldn't cheer for when cops go, I'm going to bend the rules for the people I like. But I really like that because it wasn't a cop. It was a mom. You ain't going to fuck with her because you're mad at me, asshole. Like I said, fuck with me all day. Don't fuck with the people I care about because now it's on. Like the best says, Chief Brody and Jaws. I'm the chief of police. I can do whatever I want. What is Rust Cole in Season 1? You should be afraid of me. I'm police. But she's going to go to Pete's, and Kayla's going to pick her up. And what is she wearing? Oh, an orange apron. And we think it's this nice thing, like you're learning this traditional thing from your own culture. But remember, your mom still cares about you. She might be your stepmom, but she loves you like her own. And they don't want that. And I don't think Kayla wants that, and I don't trust your ass. Especially after what we find out later. When he's like, you never wanted Darwin. You never wanted a baby. Just say it. Just say I ruined your life. That's an awful thing to say. It's a terrible thing to say. And like I've been saying, yeah, there might be a theme of mothers and there might be an instinct with women, but not all women are meant to be mothers. I know that. I know that 1,000%. There is an instinct that goes through all of us and should. But I say it like this, to bring up Jaws again. You know when you meet a mom who's got shark eyes? You know what I mean? And they really are not a good mom. That's the vibe I get from Kayla. Shark eyes. You're lifeless behind them. Everything about your kid comes back to you. You know people like that? Like people online who do that shit? Or like in your own life that somehow bring up their kids always comes back to them. You know what I'm saying? It's never, oh, their soccer game. It's always, I took them to their soccer and I had to, and it's like, okay, can you tell me about their shit? I ain't asking about you, dumbass. I'm asking about them. How's their day? Quit bringing it back to you. That's the mom vibe I get from Kayla. But we find out she never wanted Darwin. You never wanted Darwin to begin with. So I'm like, I really think Darwin's a possible candidate to get off, and it makes me nervous. And the closeness in which him and Holden look, and the color blue they wear, I'm concerned for Darwin, and I'm concerned for Pete in this world, because Pete is too good for us, everybody. Pete is way too nice and too good for the True Detective universe. He's trying to call Kayla. She's ignoring the call. We show her and Leah, all buddy-buddy. Then we show Navarro, and like I've been saying, I think this boyfriend's a shifty rat. He's still not off the hook. This episode he was really sweet. Still not off the hook with me. Dogs are howling at you and barking at you all the time. I don't know. Something's up with you. But him leaving the toothbrush was sweet. All of them alone. Hank is drinking. Jodie Foster's drinking. Navarro's going home and picks up her toothbrush. Pete's solo dolo putting out APBs. Leah's being separated from her stepmom. Figuratively and literally, they're alone. And my best bud Nicole texts me this. She goes, tell me why Navarro and Jodie Foster calling her all drunk is literally me and you. And I'm like, no, I'm Jodie Foster. I'm fully aware. And yeah, that's us 1,000%. I'm like, let me tell you. Let me tell you about this crazy shit I'm watching and talking about. Not going to get into it here, but it's weird because me and her were talking about those Chiefs fans dying. And I think people are blowing that way out of proportion. And I've been saying this and it ties in here. Freezing to death is not a bad way to die. There are some rough ways to go. Cancer-ridden, in pain. There are some rough ways to go. If in my sleep, when you freeze to death, you start to feel warm, and then you go to sleep. It's not a bad way to go out. I'm not saying it's not tragic what happened to those Chiefs fans, but Danvers is all hammered. She tells Navarro, no. These videos. At first, we're thinking it's some... She doesn't want to acknowledge any spirituality or other side stuff, so she's like, there's got to be a real logical reason for this. And she's like, the power's getting thrown. Somebody's throwing the breaker on these things. That's why these phones are glitching at the ends of these videos. I need you to go back out and talk to that Oliver in that Nomad group. And they're like, it's Christmas Eve. Let's not do that. Yada, yada, yada. And she's like, fine, I'll go myself. And they're like, don't do that. Because why are we so big on... I mean, I'm not saying drunk driving's bad. Don't do that. Who gives a shit about you? You're gonna harm other people. But I'm like, you're in the middle of nowhere. There ain't nothing around. And it seems like everybody's very against drunk driving here, but I feel like we're not against a cult, which is odd. Everybody's telling her not to drive. The Connolly, Navarro, everybody's like, don't drive. And I'm like, we draw the line at drunk driving? Really? Odd. But I get it. And don't drunk drive. That's not cool to do. Just call it, especially now, call it goddamn Uber. Pete and Navarro go together, and I loved seeing them together. It was just like siblings. It's just like a mini pseudo-family, and I love that. It definitely threw me through a loop. I thought in the trailer, when they came out of that cabin, it was going to be Hank or the cops or somebody else, not these nomads. I thought they dipped out. And if you guys notice, those dogs don't like it and start making noise, and you can, animals' instincts are in tune. That's why I don't trust that boyfriend. I'm not going to trust him till the end unless, no, I don't trust him. And she pulls out that stone with the Carcosa sign. Those dogs don't act right, do they? They seem awfully nervous. They tell them he's gone. He dipped the day after, and all that was creepy too, having all his stuff there, including the shotgun. And I think it's a Mossberg. It's a nice gun. I think we have the same one. All froze over like that. I'm gone. Creepy. Did you go to tell Clark? Did you go to meet up with Clark? I don't think Clark was that bad of a guy. And here's my thing. Part of me is just like, I don't think we would show evil characters watching Elf. You know what I'm saying? But maybe I'm wrong. And both Connolly and Hank are watching it. But when Connolly brings up her son and brings up her dead husband, Jodie Foster ain't having it. She ain't having it. She's out. Saying, you weren't the same after that. And she's like, you're full of shit. I was always this way. And yeah, I might have changed. I probably did. But I was always this way, and I was always better at my job than you. And you couldn't stand it. You have a reason for her to be gone. You have a reason for her to be out there. That's why they're showing the teeth whitening. That's why they bring up his campaign. You want to move up the ladder. And I think you'd do anything and turn away from anything at all costs. It still makes you a scumbag. It would add to why these native people really don't care for police. You know, someone's not going to help you. I don't like talking to police. I'll be honest with you. I have family who are police. I had an issue the other day I had to talk to police, and it was not fun. Because you know when they do that shit of like, here, yeah, explain yourself in detail, and then we'll just tell you how we're not doing jack shit about it. How we've known about it, and we're not going to do nothing. If you're just going to tell me I'm fucking wrong and I upset somebody, so it must be my fault. I don't think all police are bad. I think the system's jacked. I think maybe the system teaches people to be a certain kind of way and act a certain kind of way and maybe get away with stuff, and it is a problem. But I think that a lot of people, especially people I grew up with or have known their whole life, that really wanted to be an officer or a lawyer, they did it because they care. They did it because they want to help people, and then they get into this bureaucracy bullshit, and they hate it. But it's their living now. Same way I worked in a factory, and we went, yeah, so-and-so's fucking hammered tonight. We should cover that job a little better and maybe double-check all that shit, because we know so-and-so's fucked up. And we turn the other way. Everybody does things like that at their job, or like, we don't want to do all this work. Like, let's do this, and this. I mean, I can't say that, because like I said, I built vehicles. You can't miss things. You can't not do them. You have to. People will die. And you'll get caught. They're going to know exactly who didn't do something. If I don't put a brake pedal right, they know who to come to. And to other things, yeah, we went, we know bad behavior's going on, but get past that. We're going to make it through the night. It's all going to work out. It's all going to be fine. Get on the job. Everybody does it at their job at some extent. Some just worse than others. And when people try to argue that police thing, I'm like, you think cops don't? You think cops don't do the same fucking thing at their job? In the real world and in here? There's a reason people don't like talking to you. There's a reason there's an issue with that. I know it's the right thing to do, but I still don't like talking to you. Normally to get out of doing work. Navarro's sister calls her. Oh my God. That made me so sad. Because you knew what was going down. It's even worse when she gets the call with Pete, and you can tell she's like, I ain't gonna ruin his Christmas. And I've been waiting on this. If she really passed away the way they're saying, which I think it is, freezing to death isn't bad. And that's why I keep bringing it up. Over here, these people are dying in fear and cardiac arrest and clawing their eyes out. That's horrible. That's horrifying. Freezing to death, you don't go like that. You go to sleep. It's peaceful. So I think that she's going to go, why is my sister's body like this, but all of them were like that? This is more definitive proof on top of what that vet said. We get to Christmas. Jodie Foster, alone. Navarro shows up. I knew this would be a touchy subject, and Danvers wasn't going to like it. I think Navarro knows if I try to tell her kid talked to me or her son talked to me, she's going to lose it. I think she was testing the waters with the dead mom conversation and was like, no, it's a no-go. And when she starts yelling at Navarro, we are alone. There is nothing else. There's no ghosts. There's no this. There's no that. You can tell Navarro's like, man, and she brings up Holden, and she don't like that. She chucks the polar bear out the door. That was really sad. The polar bear they were into, that polar bear's telling them to get their shit together. Move it. Get it together. Like I said, this is an actual spirit guide. connected it to the Dark Tower, and it's Shardik, whose name back before the series, the Stephen King series, is Mir, and in their tribal language it means the world beneath worlds. This bear, I truly believe, is a good spirit entity telling them people are desecrating the natural order. Get on this shit. And I guarantee you, if it's solved, its eye is going to start to heal. See the bear of fearsome size. All worlds are held within his eyes. I was totally wrong about everything in the trailer. Jodie Foster's the one who crashed the car. Polar Bear's pissed, telling him to get their shit together. Varl realizes I can't tell her none of this stuff that's coming to me from the other side. Danvers is repeatedly yelling we're alone, but we're showing these characters alone. And let's talk about Bucket Guy, because I talked about him. I was like, when are we going to bring back Bucket Man? The man that got beat up by his girlfriend's coworker. I don't know what's up with them. I know some people are saying that they're involved, and they might be. I think is really interesting is that when they're first shown the Carcosa sign, immediately they're like, have you seen this devil sign before? No, that's not witchcraft. That's a devil sign. They're real quick to say that, which makes me think, I think you're kind of good. But remember that guy? I was waiting on this to come back around. And like I said, in the real world, Kelly Reese would tear these men in half. But now I understand even more watching it why you cast a boxer, why you cast an MMA fighter, because you needed it to be believable that she could fold dudes in half. And for the most part, she can. But when you get ganged up on, it is what it is. And I was shocked by that. I really thought that was going to be Pete. And it's definitely a Silence of the Lambs reference, having some shit happen outside a garage, right? And I know that Miss Moffat in Silence of the Lambs is not a garage. It's a storage unit, but there's a car parked in it. It's a whole thing. She gets the shit kicked out of her, though. And we get a really sweet scene between her and that boyfriend. And I like the way he tricks her and snaps her finger back into place, because you do have to do that. And when she says to him, why are you alone? He says, I'm not. And you're not. And then he just holds her. I was like, oh my God, you're making me really feel for you. But I still don't trust you. You can't. How can I trust somebody who says quid pro quo with Jodie Foster in it? Quid pro quo, Dr. Lecter. And you want me to trust this man? No. No. The dogs don't like, I don't, thumbs up. Jodie Foster legit dreams about her son, though. That's really sad. And Twist and Shout is way bigger than we thought. I've been saying this since day one. Twist and Shout can have a really creepy connotation if it's taken out of the song, like, and put to murder. Twist and Shout, kind of like how you're finding all these bodies. Holden is trying to tell Jodie Foster, you're right. That hunch you have that we were murdered, you're right, Mom. And I firmly believe that. There are 2 times I know my uncle spoke to me through song. That was his thing, was music. One was somebody I was really close with randomly posted Human Fly by the Cramps. And I was like, I've hung out with you forever. I've never heard you play that, ever. This is me and my uncle's jam. It's a jam. He was like, no, it's one of my favorites. I was like, you've never played this once. Not with us driving in the car, never. And now you post it? That's weird. It was like a month after he passed. He was like, yeah, it's one of my favorite songs. And then another time, and I remember my uncle was really proud of this. He was like, you know Echo and the Bunnymen? And I was like, from the Donnie Darko soundtrack. And he loved that I knew that song. I've never heard that play at a bar, blasting it at 1:30 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And a couple months after he passed, I'm sitting at the bar, and all of a sudden Echo and the Bunnymen is blaring. And I'm like, no, I know that's my uncle. And like I was saying with Spice Girls, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. What are they trying to tell you? Twist and Shout is obviously Holden trying to get his mom, look over here, that's me. And I firmly believe those things happen. You can call me crazy, you can say it's coincidence, but I know in my gut they happen. I like Jodie Foster just being like, what the f is wrong with your face? And she's like, I lost the stone, but doesn't really tell her what happened with those dudes. I think in that scenario with getting beat up by those guys, she really was like, this is how much you hated Annie K. Do you hate me enough to do that to me? And that's a scary situation. I'm pretty tough, and I'm pretty big, and I'm pretty strong. But I know I ain't gonna win against no dude in the end. And it's a scary situation sometimes. So I think she was like, thank God nothing more happened. And then she realizes she lost that rock. Who's got that rock? Bucket boyfriend? Yeah, scumbag. And then she's just like, my sister's dead. I got her body coming. And you can tell that really, I mean, obviously, Danvers is taken back by that. And they cut the argument down. When they bring up the Wheeler case again, and she's like, I know you saw something. That's why I'm like, Jodie Foster, you know there's something else, and you just don't want to face it, because being logical is more acceptable in your brain for you. You don't want to admit there's something else, but you know Navarro saw something. And like I was saying, we got this Pet Cemetery crazy-ass imagery going on. Went to the dredge. The second they brought up a dredge, I talked about that on my social media too. I was like, there are things that I believe I could do in this world. I probably can't, but I know if you gave me the tools and said, here's a way to do it, I could learn it. Running a dredge. Running a sluice. Sport fishing. I know I could do that. I know I could catch a tuna. I know 100. My ex kept telling me you couldn't do that. I'm like, I think I could. I really think I could do that one. I probably couldn't run a dredge, but I'm just saying, if you gave me enough time and the equipment, I could learn. And that was some Avatar: The Last Airbender shit. When we go out and it's just frozen in time. Creepy, big machinery, unnatural in this natural place. Sticking with the theme. Hurting nature, going against nature, desecrating what is good with something nasty and evil. Now what do we see in here, guys? We see a spider-looking thing. Dark Tower people, Crimson King, Pennywise, all I'm saying. There's a lot of spider and spiderweb imagery in Season 1. Here's one I thought was really weird, and I wrote it down and didn't think anything of it until later on, and I'm glad that I waited to do this review, which is stay off the grass. And I'm like, that's a weird thing to put. What does that mean? And then I thought, like mowing the lawn in Season 1, what does the killer do? Oh, he mows the lawns and takes care of these properties that Tuttle owns, that his family owns. But stay off the grass. It could be nothing, or it could be like mowing the lawn and shit. We get someone running. Is it Clark? Who is it? No, we find out it's Otis. The guy who made all the maps of all these ice things, the junkie. And what's he wearing? Her parka, Annie K's parka. Clark wasn't, he is. They make a point to show a syringe, they make a point to show that he's probably messed up, and he's on drugs, which means don't believe them, which is a horrible way to think. Just because somebody's an addict or on something doesn't mean they shouldn't be believed. Jodie Foster takes off. This is the physical thing, the logical thing I can chase. Navarro doesn't. She feels something. She looks over the edge. She sees the body in the water. And like I was saying with the trailer, this is one of the few things I got right. I thought the footprints were a supernatural thing, because I'm like, there ain't no way people are walking around out here with no shoes on. I live in Michigan. We have some of the worst winters around. There ain't no way you're walking this far around with no shoes on. Get real. It was leading her to something else. And earlier in the episode, she says it takes us one by one. And I think that's if you allowed yourself to be separated and alone. Sticking together, you're safer. Remember that together we're better and safer and stronger. It doesn't matter if we're different. Divide and conquer. You guys tell me how you felt about this, because this was the weirdest part. The tree, the Christmas tree. Weird, right? But Navarro is off on another mission. She sees the body, she sees this stuff, and then she's sitting at the Christmas tree after Jodie Foster goes after Otis, and after that whole situation, and she comes back down and she sees that her eardrums are ruptured. Just like in these other cases. The Christmas tree. That's odd to me. That was the one thing where I was like, I cannot place this. A junkie wouldn't do that. They might, but why a full-ass tree? It tells me that you care about traditions, but who did that? Very odd. But it does show there was power here. Like a power source, like your phone plugged in. And then we have Otis saying, we're all in the night country now. And it's really creepy and it's really scary. But it's called night country. You're not really telling us anything we don't know. But I really didn't know how to take that. We're getting real out there. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And what about them doing an early episode on Friday? Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm really geeked about that. That's awesome. Are we gonna get another one on Sunday though too? This is great. I love that, HBO. Give me more of that stuff. That makes me happy. But what do you guys think about this episode? This is out there, and I'm working on a video of explaining exactly what I mean. Excuse me, when I talk about the way they're using this culture and tricking these native people, because I think this is a huge theme in the book Blood Meridian, which Nicole also pointed me to, and I've read Blood Meridian. It's just been a minute, and if you've read that, there's a huge theme of white people are committing crime. Have you ever seen Deadwood? That Hank's in also, and Ian McShane's character tells them in the very beginning, like, go out and murder this family, but make it look like Native Americans did it. Make people real scared. And that's exactly what happens in Blood Meridian. But it's a way to get the land price down and to scare everybody and to take over. But really, it's white people and settlers who are making it look like Native people and making it seem that way, but really it's not, for their own gain. But they're tricking everybody. But what do you guys think about the year 2006? What do you think about the lawn stuff? What do you think about it connecting back to Season 1? And where do we think Rose was at? And what about them saying that's not your name? But the boyfriend does say that in the other episode. The Alaskan girls always come home. Are you originally from there? Did you come with Salal? I'm waiting for them to say, like, I was a professor in Louisiana. And then I'm going to go, aw, shit. But I'm Abby with MotorCityNerds. Tell me what you think down below. And if Nicole wants to, we'll record more later. And that'll probably just be, like, reading comments and bouncing off each other. Because I do better with another person. Mom's sick of me. I think that's why she wants my orange and blue theory to be wrong. But I'm on OF, I'm on TikTok, I'm on all the things down below. Tell me what you think about this.